and welcome to my session, Getting Started Homeschooling is a homeschool co-op for me. My name is Khadijah Ali-Coleman, and I am a homeschooling mother of a teenage daughter who currently is dual enrolled as a community college student as well as finishing up her high school years as a homeschooling student. And so I come to you with approximately 12 years of experience homeschooling off and on my daughter. And I, part of our journey was homeschooling using a homeschool co op. And so this session is going to revolve around discussing three aspects, and I'm offering you three tips when considering whether or not a homeschool co op is for you. So, uh, my first up close and personal observations of homeschooling, um, when I first even became aware of homeschooling, was in I'd say, maybe the 1990s. I was an adult, but I had just recently finished college, and my mother, I'm the oldest of five children, so my mother was still parenting my younger siblings who are significantly younger than me. And so she had decided, this was probably 1996. We were living in Maryland. I live in Maryland now. She had decided to homeschool my brother. He was in middle school. He had been in the Montessori magnet program in Maryland all through elementary school, K through 6. When it came to the middle school years, school and Montessori programs were not, they were still only admissible through a lottery system. She didn't want him to go to any of the schools that were in our neighborhood, which is pretty terrible. And so she decided that homeschooling was going to be the option. And so I saw that was really my first up close and personal experience with homeschooling. And so I knew that when I got when I became a parent, that was going to probably be part of my journey, particularly if I was still living in the county that I grew up in as a student, which I am currently living in the county where I attended high school. And so my belief that this was going to be a choice is because, in general, public schools are less forgiving of behaviors displayed by children of color. That is not me with an opinion, that is um, researched fact. And I do want to put out as a disclaimer that in addition to being a schooling parent, I also am currently a student at Morgan State University. I'm a doctoral student, and my dissertation study is focused on African American dual enrolled homeschool students and their perceptions of preparedness for college, for community college. So over the past few years, been doing a significant amount of study regarding homeschooling in particular, but our educational system in general. And so a new study found that black boys and students with disabilities are the most vulnerable to punitive discipline tactics within public schools, and that trend is starting to also include black girls as well. And so, being an African American mother who is parenting a black daughter, I am particularly sensitive to what some of the benefits are for traditional schooling versus homeschooling. My daughter decided, I've homeschooled her off and on, so she's attended public and private school for some parts of her educational journey. But after she attended middle school, I homeschooled her for fifth and sixth grade. I homeschooled her early during her pre-K and first grade years, and after she attended seventh and eighth grade and part of a performing arts school, she asked me to homeschool her for high school, where she currently is an 11th grader. And so, who is dual enrolled. So she's also pursuing an associate's degree at a community college. And so, in another session that I presented on dual enrollment, I talked about some of the strategies and tips on dual enrollment. But this is going to be talking about some of our journey earlier on when she was still an elementary school student, and we were engaged in co-ops. And so I was not familiar with what a co-op was when I first encountered homeschooling, as I'm saying, with my brother. My mother did it herself. She was a mathematician, a math teacher, a math science teacher, so she taught my brother at home. I didn't know what a co-op was. Deciding to homeschool early on, I started to hear about these groups of parents forming. Still didn't know the technical term, but a co-op, as I learned, is a group where the children and parents are both integral parts of the learning environment. So co-ops are generally started by a homeschooling parent or a group of homeschooling parents who decide to offer courses for their children to take together. So most co-ops hire outside contractors to teach the course and combine resources to pay the instructor. So some co-ops have, and co-op is short for cooperative, and so if you think maybe real estate, like a building where a group of people live and they have the opportunity to buy their building where everyone is sharing or partnering and owning this building, the same is to be said of a homeschool cooperative where the parents are paying for the instructors who are teaching the children, and it's this group effort as opposed to a school where one person owns it and is running it. It's usually where it's something where the parents are collectively doing something, whether it's collectively deciding what the courses are that are going to be offered, collectively deciding who is going to be part of the group of children or families that are part of it, but it's a cooperative effort. Most co-ops hire outside contractors to teach the course and combine resources to pay the instructor. Some co-ops have the parents teach a course and waive costs if a parent is teaching a course. Some co-ops have membership fees in addition to the fees for the course. Some don't. A few co-ops are incorporated as nonprofits and receive grant funding that allows them to be able to charge or to be free of charge to participants. So those are some of the things that that's the definition. When I'm talking about co-op, that's the working definition. Some co-ops specialize in a discipline or academic focus, like the arts or STEM education, which stands for science, technology, engineering, and math, while some co-ops specialize in a mindset, an ideology, such as Pan-African thought, Christianity, or college prep. Some co-ops are only for a certain age group, and overall, co-ops are the opportunity for you and your family to meet other homeschooling families. And they provide your children with an opportunity to engage in socializing with other children their age, and an opportunity for them to learn subjects you may not be equipped to teach them. So that's number one. That's what a homeschool co-op is. What I find is one of the challenging, once you realize what a homeschool co-op is, what becomes challenging then is to maybe decide, is this a fit? Is this a fit for my family? So you have to start now, as you are researching co-ops, locating the ones that are located in your vicinity where you have the capacity to travel to, or even if they're online, they're virtual. It's finding out if they're affordable for your family. You need to now see if their mission, their ideology, or what have you is compatible with the lifestyle of your family, some of the values that you want to be incorporated in your homeschool journey. And so with that, you have to figure out what their mission statement is. Some co-ops have a mission statement, some don't. And so you need to figure out where to find it, talk to the parents who have started it, get a sense. You can ask other people who have been a part of it or a current part, interview those families, not interview in like a journalistic, stodgy, formal interview, but in a conversational way, kind of get a sense of, what are some of the things, the activities that are offered for the kids? What are some of the classes that are offered? What is the feel of the group? And you want to ask people you know, and if you don't know, you're not friends with parents that you're asking these questions, keep it all in context. You don't know this person well, but it's part of your whole researching journey to find out if this may be a fit for you. Um, Sometimes you really don't know if a co-op is compatible with your homeschooling goals until your child is already enrolled and engaged in co-op courses or activities. So that's the real deal. Sometimes you just won't know unless you give it a chance. Personally, I realized that my personal learning experiences and my daughter's personality and learning needs required a certain co-op experience. And we actually were part of two co-ops in order to kind of figure out, is this a fit? Um, when I was a child, from an early age, my mother educated me at home, even though I attended public school. So, in a sense, she was homeschooling me. But what that means is that she assigned me readings and engaged in cultural teachings in addition to work I was responsible for in school. And her teachings always revolved around the global history of people of the African diaspora. So, by second grade, she started working in a Pan African independent school as a preschool teacher and enrolled me and my sister. And everything really foundational that I learned at home was this Pan African, Afrocentric kind of mentality. And so I began to view, and I view things through this lens. So I um, wanted something along those lines for my daughter, looking for a co op experience. Um, and I actually was able to find a co op when she was in fifth grade that kind of spoke to an Afrocentric um, emphasis on the courses that they were offering the children. But the co-op was not a fit for my family. It just wasn't. It wasn't a fit. Um, my daughter really wanted to be in an environment where there were other girls where she could play with. While there were some young girls that she met, in fact, a family of three girls. In general, this homeschool and there was a lot of children in this homeschool co-op. Most of them, I would say, like 90% of them were boys, and that was something which she, this was fifth grade, was at 10 years old. No, mommy, I want to be around girls, and there's so many boys, and these are boys who want to run and jump and play and do robotics and things that she wasn't really interested in. Those were not um, even running, jumping, and playing. She was more very, I want to read, I want to write, I want to do really quiet, reflective things. I want to interact with other girls. She's a preteen, so starting to really understand these differences between the genders. And so this just wasn't a fit in terms of how she was developing, where her development was at that time. And so later, when before she started her ninth grade, her first semester of her ninth grade year, before she started attending a community college, we tried another co-op experience. The mission statement was focused on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And, you know, we knew that she had very advanced writing, analytical, those type of skills, thinking, but the math and the science, really to be in an environment where that could be beefed up, was something she was looking forward to. That experience for her, she really found value in the coursework, but again, this time the children were so much younger. Well, not so much, but there were so many younger children that's really what led to our decision that community college was the next step for her. Um, but those two examples are examples where you're really not going to know unless you give it a try and you see. Um, so that kind of leads me to my third point, which is that you need to really assess if this homeschool co-op adds or detracts from your child's homeschool experience. And those two examples, she did complete courses. She completed courses in the co-op. We didn't abruptly leave or anything like that. But after that season in co-op courses usually run, they from anywhere from 2 weeks to 10 weeks. I know with both of the co-ops that my daughter we were a part of, that both of them, the courses were typically 2 months, meeting 1 day a week, which is typical. Co-op courses usually meet 1 2 days a week, not the whole week. You have a bevy of courses to choose from typically, but you're assessing now, this third point, if it's a homeschool that adds a co-op that adds or detracts from your child's homeschool experience. And so what does that mean? So you need to figure out if that co-op experience is meeting any of the goals that you have set forth for your child. Are they teaching them values and things that really conflict with what your overarching views and values are? Is it inconvenient to get to the co-op? Are you having difficulty interacting with folks there where in the larger picture and the whole scope of the experience, it is something that's laborious, energetically not a fit for you, where you're not really liking the people that you engage with, your child doesn't seem to be thriving. Those are the things that you pay attention to see if this is something that you need to continue. What I always am telling families when I'm sharing my homeschool journey and they're asking me questions like, how do you get started, or how different is it from traditional schooling experience? One of the things that I always have to bring up is that humans are humans, and where some people have experienced with the cliquishness that can occur in a traditional school setting with PTA, the queen bee, the mom who just knows everybody and is very power hungry and controlling and can ostracize certain mothers, things that we see depicted on television. That can really truly be real circumstances that can happen within these homeschool circles that we're part of. That doesn't disappear because now your child is outside of a traditional homeschool setting. And those are really real scenarios that people have reported they've experienced in co-op settings. But where you have that, I feel like that's a very extreme negative experience that one can have. I think you have the opportunity to have a very positive experience on the other side of the spectrum. Particularly once you know what it is that your ultimate goal is, what your outcomes are that you'd like to see for your child. And so overall, your decision to homeschool and to choose a co-op is very dependent on the mission that you've created for yourself, your mission statement for your homeschool journey with your child, and understanding what that is as you research and you determine if a particular homeschool co-op is a fit for you. And so those are my three things that I recommend. First, know what a co-op is, know how that organization is determining that they are cooperative. Do you get a choice or an opportunity to make a determination what courses are offered? Are you paying a fee? Those kinds of things. Two, what is the mission of this co-op? Is it aligned with your family's values and morals? And then three, does being part of this co-op detract or add to the homeschooling journey of your family? Those three things, keeping those in mind, will really help you know if a homeschool is for you. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for choosing this session as part of this conference. If you need any additional, if you'd like to confer with me or read anything that I've written on the topic of homeschooling, I encourage you to visit my blog at soyaonline.wordpress.com. You can also check me out at khadijahonline.com or Ali-Coleman.com for more information. Thanks again, and best of luck on your homeschool journey.